What is up, DG Army? Nethervoid, also known as John, back with more strategy series. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so this video is going to be a little bit rusty, just bear with me. And here's the tank that I really unlocked a couple of months ago, 3 months ago or so. This is the Tier 4 British Valentine, and if you look at the British tree, there are two lines here that converge into the Churchill 1, which will send you up the heavy line, and the Valentine happens to be right here. The reason I chose to go down the Valentine line before the Matilda is some people were saying that I'd like the Valentine line better because it has a better gun, and the Matilda seemed the Valentine all around seemed better than the Matilda. So that's where it sits on the tree. Things to know about this tank right off the bat are it's very, very slow. It's one of those infantry tanks that was designed to move ahead with the infantry, so the engine is pretty bad as far as versus tanks is concerned. But it does have all-around nice armor, just like a lot like the KV-1 does. And it has a really exceptional gun as far as penetration is concerned. The damage is roughly the same as other Tier 4s, but look at that, 110 pen, which is, well, this says Tier 5, but you can't really go by these tiers. This is more like a Tier 5's pen, like the M4's gun that has 110 pen. The rounds per minute are slightly lower than a Tier 4 gun that has less pen, because this is just, I think, a more advanced gun. So those are the big features to know about this tank, and that's going to really determine how you drive this tank. The way I drive this tank, since it does move so slow, I try to get moving almost as soon as the match starts, and get into position as soon as I can, and really try to never stop moving if I'm engaged with somebody. If I can shoot at an enemy, I'll stop, but if I can't shoot at an enemy, I'll keep driving no matter what. Like the Duck, the Tier 4 French tank, you really just cannot stop moving when you play this tank until you get into some action to shoot some people. Else, the game will be over before you get a chance to do anything. I also prioritize shorter lanes over longer ones. Again, because I want to make sure I can get into the battle before it's over. So, like on Himmelsdorf, I would not go hill with this thing because it would take forever to get there. So that's pretty much how you drive this tank. Obviously, use proper angling because you're very easy to circle, and you don't want to just you're not going to be able to just pop out with the side of your tracks and pop back. You're not going to be fast enough. So just make sure you do your proper angling, and you should be pretty good. Now, that's how to drive this tank. Let's look at some stats here. 340 hit points, pretty standard for Tier 4s. Not even going to really talk about that. 165 horsepower engine pushing almost 19 tons, and that's why it's so slow. That's about like an 8 to 1 power to weight ratio. You want at least 10. You kind of want 15. That's pretty good. And 20 is just ridiculous. So 8 is really bad. 24 top speed. That's even downhill. It's still very sluggish even going downhill, probably because of the gearing it had. Or it has in game, but I mean in real life when it was being used. 42 traverse on the tracks with 40 traverse on the turret puts you at 82. It's pretty nice, actually. Remember how I said you can get flanked? You actually could, for traverse, I was actually wrong. The traverse is actually pretty good. It's just if you need to maneuver back and forth to like close off someone circling or something like that, it's going to be pretty tough just because this tank has such a bad power to weight ratio. 340 view range, that's pretty decent for a Tier 4. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's actually, it's decent. A 450 meter signal on the radio is actually pretty good for Tier 4, but a lot of German radios are going to be a little bit better than you just because early on, the Germans pioneered the radio use in tanks early on in the war. That's kind of the way it works, so their radios are better. So now that we've looked at that, let's look at some modules here. Again, we already talked about the radio. I'm pretty sure you should have that already unlocked when you get this tank. Let's just take a peek. Oops, is that the Tier 4? I don't know. Hold on a sec. Make sure it's the Tier 4. What? I can't even remember what tank guns before this. Cruiser 2? Let's look at that real quick. Cruiser 2. Cruiser Mark 3. Cruiser Mark 2. So you will already have this radio when you get this tank. Well, that's awesome. Throw it right on right away for increased credits and XP from spotting people, and also looking at guys while the enemies do damage to them. If you can keep them on the radar, that gets you XP and credits as well. So next up, the engineer. Now, I don't believe you start with the awesome engine. So I just looked, and you will actually have none of the upgraded engines. So you're going to have to start with this 135 horsepower engine, which is even worse, obviously, than what I stated before. So stock, this thing is going to be really hard to play. You're You're obviously not going to have this turret. You don't really get a lot out of it. Actually, you lose traverse, so it's not really an improvement. A slight view range, but you need it to use the 6-pounder, the 6-pounder gun here. You will also not have any of these guns. This is kind of a new tech, apparently, on this tank, so you won't have these guns. Now, if you look at the, we'll go over research in a minute, but I really prefer the 6-pounder here with the 110 pen, making sure I can pen anybody, pretty much anybody I come up against. Not everybody. You might have to pick out weak spots, but it's a pretty good gun. Let's look at the characteristics. The accuracy is pretty bad, but that's usual for lower tier tanks. The aiming time is okay. I mean, it's not really bad. It's good. But if we look at these other guns here, let's see. The Mark III 6-pounder, which is pretty much the same except slightly less pen. It's a little less accuracy, but aim time is a little bit better. And if we look at the Mark V 75mm, the reason I didn't pick it is because, first of all, it drops 20 pen. That's almost 20% drop in penetration. I don't think that's a great idea. It does get a little bit more damage, which is nice, but the reload speed is also slower, so you're not really getting more damage per second or anything like that. You're really just getting a drop in pen. And in the lower tiers, penetration means a lot, especially with a slow-moving tank like this when you're not really going to be able to flank someone probably. Accuracy is the same, aim time's the same. So really, it's all about that pen drop, I think. So definitely go with the 6-pounder, 66-pounder. 6-pounder. Now let's look at the tech tree real quick. So here's the tech tree on the Valentine, and one thing I did notice right off the bat is you're not going to be able to put the upgraded turret or guns on this thing before you get the tracks. So you're going to want to get those first, which is kind of unfortunate because really I would love to be able to go right up that engine line because they're so easy to unlock, and they really need to, well, actually you can go up the engine line first. Just get all the engines first. I mean, they're not very expensive, and you're not going to be unlocking this stuff before you unlock, you know, especially this 180. That's pretty easy. So what I would do is I'd unlock all these engines first, get your mobility up a little bit, then I'd get the tracks, then I would go for this turret, and after that the 6-pounder, and you're pretty much set, and then you can just unlock everything else at your leisure, and then in the church, and that's it, you're done. Back from research, now let's look at equipment. I don't get equipment until tier 7 or above just because I have so many tanks, but a lot of people like to get it early. It's pretty cheap on the light tanks. The first thing I always get is, if I can anyway, is the vent because it increases your whole tank by quite a bit. So that's always nice to get. You know, aim time, reload speed, traverse speed, top speed, everything is affected by these vents. So I always get it first. Now I don't see a rammer on here, which is interesting. I usually go for the rammer second, but it doesn't have one. So I would probably get, excuse me, the toolbox would be a good idea just because these guys are not going to repair very quickly. And if you're getting out there getting shot, you're definitely going to want to get that repair done really quickly and get back into cover. The laying drive would also be a good idea because the gun, you really want to pop out and get your shot off before you get toasted, especially in these tier 4s, where you're not driving. In this tank, you're not flanking and you're not using your speed as a tank like you would in the PZ3 or something. You're just relying on the buildings around you and ducking back into cover. Another good one would be binocs to get your view range out there even further, just to help because you're probably not going to be right on the front line a lot of the game, and so having that binocs will help you spot people, especially if you're kind of waiting to see what happens and waiting for enemies to show up. The binocs help a lot with that. So I'd probably actually get the toolbox, the laying drive, and the vents is probably how I'd go. So consumables, I don't get any consumables until tier 5 and 6 just because I don't think you make enough money off these first tanks to really warrant the consumables, especially since you're going to grind through this tank pretty quickly, and I think credits are going to be your primary reason why you can't upgrade to the next tank. So putting consumables on, in my opinion, isn't really worth the 3,000 credits you'll usually spend by, let's say, repairing your track or repairing your gun or something like that. As far as shells, I usually only load 4 HE on these tanks. If it's a really high pen gun, I'll load 2. Obviously, that's not this tank. I'm talking about guns with 250 or higher pen or something like that, 234 or something like that. So 4 HE, the rest AP, and no consumables. That's pretty much how this works. Your crew, when you transfer it over, will probably be about 68% or so. I have a little extra just because I've been grinding out trying to get nice replays for this strategy series. So let's get some games with this thing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's a decent game I had on Erlenberg in the Valentine, and I should be getting moving pretty quick here because, yeah, there I go. Because this tank moves so slow, like I was talking about, you need to get off, get moving right at the start. Now normally, I'd wait in the spawn area like 10 seconds just to kind of see where everybody's going, and that way I would fill the gap where we're weak. But with this tank, you have to just kind of get going right away and kind of go where you think you need to go. Also, a lot of times I'll hang back from the main group, for one, because I'm slower, so they'll just naturally push on ahead of me, but also because if you want to turn around and go somewhere else, it's really hard to relocate without sucking up too much time in the game. For some reason, it's not showing the countdown time. Interesting. I'm doing this replay through XVM, and it's just not showing the game timer. Anyway, so I'm driving pretty slow. You can see 24 kilometers per hour. Getting right up onto the side of this ridge, thinking maybe I could get a shot on that guy. And this is a pretty common game, getting matched up with tier 5s. But with the gun on this tank, I don't really mind it because I know my pen is good. So I don't know if that hit him or not. But if it did connect, it probably pinned. Because this gun, again, is beast at 110 pen. So I'm going to ride this ridge, kind of to spot people, but also just to be ready to shoot if I can. Here's a nice group of dudes. Some tier 5s. And nope, not with that guy. Let's just move on ahead a little bit. See if I can get in a good position to shoot some of these guys. Looks like they're already getting kind of jacked up a little bit right there. T1 Heavy's coming in. And I don't know, he's coming in pretty hot. Now, this is 2 tier 4s and a tier 5. But and T1's an awesome tank, but it's not that good. Look, he's taking tons of damage, gets tracked. This gun will pretty much, if I can connect with him, this will pretty much penetrate him no matter where I shoot, on the side anyway. So there's another pen hit on him. Trying to get him in the track right here now. And I don't think I can help this guy. Nope. See how I shot him on that flat part of the corner right there? There we go. Now I got a track shot on him, so you can't move around. I'm going to shoot right on that corner where it's flat. And he gets killed. So you could see just from those shots, the shots on this gun are it's not a very tight set of shots. Some of that is the accuracy of the gun, and the other half of it's probably my crew. M8A1, really awesome turreted TD, tier 5. Just be careful for this tank. Pretty sure it's a tier 5, right? Oh, I can't see tiers. Nope, it's a tier 4. This thing is amazing. It has awesome pen on the gun. It's pretty mobile. It's really nice scout slash TD. Decent for sniping. I mean, low tier guns never have really great accuracy. A lot of that's because their crews are pretty bad. But that gun that tank I really loved. And you can see the strategy series on it if you go to the American tree. Also with this tank, I will be putting up the British tree. I didn't do that last time, so I'll be doing it this time. Now, I'm really exposed right here. Probably not the greatest idea, but I really want to like kill this 85B. I don't know what he's doing, but he's dead. Priest kills him. So let's get off this hill and get to the action. Now, there's no way I would probably be able to relocate down to J5 if I wanted to before either the enemy got out of there or it was not relevant anymore. And there's the AMX-40, what I was talking about in the garage. Same problems. I think it's a little slower than this tank even. But it also has a pretty decent gun and some decent armor. So if you've played the AMX-40, this tank's a lot like it. I think it's a little bit better. But I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played the AMX-40. I do know that the Church 1's XP cost was a lot lower in patch 8.2 than you might be seeing right now. I think it was only like 8,000 to unlock it, and they said they were going to bump it to 16,000, not positive. So that's why I went straight for the church instead of the big gun, actually. I wanted to make sure I got that before the patch. Crossing the bridge with the church here. Then I noticed we got a T-14 crossing the bridge into the center. Figured, you know what, I'm going to go back and make sure I can clear that out before I cross the bridge. Because once I get across, it's going to be really hard for me to get double back. Not only because of speed, but also to get a good position where I can shoot the T-14 and not get shot at by enemy tanks. So, looks like he's battling that AMX-40, and the AMX-40 gets artied right there by the French artillery. T-14 is pretty hurt. The AMX-40 has a decent gun. Looks like that Artie's probably over there down at like K7 or something like that, or maybe even in the river, because he's hitting guys over on this side of the field. Trying to be careful, but also trying to sneak up to get that T-14. The T1 Heavy is kind of holding him off a little bit. He's a little scared. So I'm getting his back there. Not zooming in to not get a very good shot, but boom, you're dead. Now that was back armor, but with this 110 pen, I could have penned him almost anywhere except maybe the mantlet. So hiding behind this building, figuring, okay, Artie's down there in the south. I don't know why my textures are so grainy lately. I think it's just because I turned them down for FPS speed. M3 Lee, really awesome tank, does not get the credit it deserves because that gun is so powerful and it's actually pretty mobile. It's basically a TD, but it's in the heavy or the medium tree. Also the Priest, I'm surprised he's not dead yet. And accuracy of this gun at 400 meters, not really going to do it. Can get some good shots though if you take your time and just keep trying if he's going to sit out there. I mean, eventually you're going to hit him. So, oh, M4 Lee back out there. Let's see if I can get a hit on him. Nope. Now giving me side armor makes him a lot easier to hit. Take my time, boom, right through the front. Nice hit on the M3 Lee. I'm going to keep shooting at him because I think he's tracked. That probably hit him. M7 Priest gets the kill. So at this point, I've helped out a lot on this side. Well, with the M3 Lee and also that T14. The Priest is pretty handled right here. I was hoping he'd pop out, but I don't think so. Doing decent right here. Trying to go for this, get over that central bridge right there. So, okay, it's just the Priest and the KV-1 over there. I wonder where that M8A1 is. Surprised he's not dead. Since we're... Whoa, that's not good. Looks like it's... Oh, okay, we got 5 tanks. There he is. I did not see him till he's right on him. Missed that shot. I was pretty much dead anyway. That guy has a really good gun. Apparently they have a really good camouflage rating because I did not see him. No, I don't have plates for this game, so we're just going to go to the next game. Now, here's another good game I had on Dragon Ridge. Again, I'm trying to show you the speed of this tank, basically, the gun, and the armor a little bit. Now, right away, I look at the minimap and realize I thought I spawned on the south side. Nope. Bad mistake for this tank because it takes so long to get the action. Again, downhill is not that big of a deal, 25 downhill or so. Going uphill, not the same, it's pretty bad. And again, this is with the most upgraded tank. With that stock tank, it's really, really bad. Sorry, I keep pausing and or muting my mic. I just had dinner, so sorry about that. So as you can see, getting to the action on a bigger map like this can be pretty tough. Now, I don't like to go down into the new valley, well, new as of 8.0 valley down here on this map, because you can get caught up and it's real easy to get rushed down there, so I don't find it to be a very good location for me. For me, I like the more open area of the city, and it looks like a lot of people went city this time, which is nice. There'd be some people to shoot at. PZ3 staying really far back. I'd probably be flanking if I was that guy. Another PZ3. See if I can get a hit on him. Nope. Flies right over the top of his front plate. Let's get a little closer. With my 60 millimeters of armor, should do pretty well against the PZ3's 76 penetration gun. Let's see if we can get a cupola shot on this guy. Nope, hit the dirt. Trying again. Boom! Man, that went right on target. Nice. So we're pretty much just pot-shotting with these guys. Oh, M4 Lee, or M3 Lee trying to get some flank action on us. Let's get a hit on this guy if I can. I don't think so. Nope. Man, they got a lot of their team right here. Let's take these guys out. PZ3 again, right through that driver hatch, or driver viewport, no problem. I mean, I could shoot that guy anywhere, because he's only got 60 hull armor. So again, just kind of... Oh, there we go. We've got to get that guy out of the game. He's pretty low on hit points, too, so... There we go. Crusader, pretty bad on points, or Cruiser 4. Hit points are almost gone. Really would be nice to hit him. Now, see how many shots I'm bouncing? Getting a lot of bounces off the PZ3 gun. I don't know if it's the upgraded gun or not. I didn't zoom in enough. So, but I've taken no hit points damage yet. I've got plenty of hits on the front of me. It looks like they're trying to shoot me in the turret. It's not really working out for them. Now, I'm flanking city because I want to make sure these guys in the middle die. I don't want them to surround anybody. So T-46, pretty nice tier 3. No match for this tank, if he's not going to be moving anyway. Boom. You're dead. BZ3, here we go. Again, bouncing off me. And I don't really have to aim too much with the 110 pen. I really like that. Especially since, well, I guess if I'm moving pretty slow, I can zoom in. It won't be that big of a deal. That really only matters when you're trying to move fast and corner at the same time and everything. It's hard to zoom in at that point, so... T-57, I would love to get a shot on this Artie. I love killing Artie. He must have the a pretty short-range gun to be that close. So, shooting from the hip, I must have hit him in the track because I didn't do anything. And... Boom! You're dead. 2 kills. Nice. So doing pretty good here. We cleared it out pretty much on the east side of the map. The west side is looking pretty bad, but I think the guys back there can handle it. I'm going to push up and try to spot more guys or get in the cap. Now, normally, you'd probably want to turn back at this point. Actually, there's another one of their tanks. But this tank moves so slow, it's really hard to turn back. If I turn back, I might not ever get any damage on people. Now, I'm just looking at where they shot me and stuff. Looks like they're trying to go for the turret, which is usually where British tanks are pretty weak. And this one could be, except they might have just hit me where I had armor. I bet you if you hit that machine gun turret, you'll probably get some damage. Also, it looks like I took a shot in the lower plate and still didn't get any damage. So, I don't know. Probably hit this thing in that front plate in the driver viewport right there, where it's flat, see? That's probably where I'd try to shoot at this thing. The lower plate's a pretty good area, too. But it's a little angled. It's slightly angled, and if it's 60 millimeters, then you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a bad time. So I'm getting into the cap here. I know I know all their tanks are on the other side of the field, so this is probably going to be fine. But just in case I stop behind the supply depot they've decided not to destroy. Sweet, now I can hide behind it. Always destroy these if you get a chance, because it just helps someone absorb 1 or 2 shells that you could actually use to pen the guy, and he might be returning fire on you and getting penetrating, damaging shots. So, 1 tank left. Pretty sure we got this. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because not a lot happens. And this guy's shooting. I don't know what he's doing. All right, let's get some in-plate action. Pretty good game. Pretty awesome game here. The first plate at, what is this, ×2. So I had about a 700-point game. This is about typical for me in this tank. I think part of that is the tank has very few hit points. There's not a lot of room for mistakes. Again, it's hard to get to the action. That's one of the reasons I tend to get lower XP on this tank. I'm not spotting anybody. I'm not getting first spot on anybody because I'm so slow. And then just the damage output's okay on this gun, on this tank. The real thing is that nice pen. But, you know, that's kind of why I kind of get some lower XP on these kind of a tank. 700 is still not bad for a tier 4, I guess. Let's go to the second plate. So, 4th on the list here for XP, 492. Looks like the top guy got 676. That's a really nice game for the A20, actually. Still a decent game though. Definitely survived. That's really awesome for this tank. So let's look at the next plate. 400 or 500 damage, pretty much off of 340 hit points. That's decent. I would have liked to get a lot more damage, but it just didn't happen. So sometimes you don't do it, sometimes you do. How could I have gotten more damage? I wonder. If I'd have been more aggressive, I could have gotten more damage. But I was already taking a lot of chances and getting shot in the face and getting kind of lucky dings. 12 shots fired, 9 direct hits, and 9 of those were penetrations. So pretty much every time I shot, it pinned the guy. And that's that 110 penetration. Made 15,000 credits, pretty good. The repair and ammo on this thing is really nothing almost. See, and so I got 15,000 on this. If I would have used a repair kit or something, that'd be 12,000. So to me, that's just really not worth it. I really want that 15 grand to save up for the church, which is 340,000. So if you're doing 15K games, and this is really one of my better games, that's what, 20 or 30, 22 games. So I wouldn't be using consumables. That's just not the way I'd go with that. So anyway, and that's assuming that you're already unlocked everything and bought everything. So 22 games to get all the XP for the church, and at 1,500 a pop, it only took me, what's that, 6 games to get the XP, and I was waiting another 18 or so games, 16 or so games to get the credits I need. So again, I don't think consumables are worth it. So, and that's again off these really awesome games. So if you have crappier games, you might spend a long time in this tank. Anyway, tell me what you think about this tank. Later, guys.